Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking at the top 10 most underrated units in Battle Cats. Now keep in mind that there are hundreds, maybe even thousands of units in Battle Cats, and I probably forgot a couple, so if I forgot something, please tell me in the comments below. I love to hear your suggestions. I mean, if I ever do a remake of this video, I could use the comment section as like help. And yeah, keep in mind that this is all just my opinion. Nothing what I say here is deliberately fact. It's just a compilation of units I think are really underrated. If you haven't checked out the top 10 overrated units in Battle Cats, I would suggest checking that out first. But you don't have to, you can watch it after, or you don't have to watch it at all, who knows. If you could, that'd be great though. Alright, with all that being said and done, let's get straight into the video. Coming in at number 10, we got the Peach Devils. Peach Devils is a unit that many people consider to have fallen off, which is kind of true. His first form is severely outclassed by Rare Cat and Kasa Jizo. Like, it's not even close. However, his evolved form is a fantastic Red and Angel crowd controller. People seem to abandon him in favor of other generals crowd controllers such as Kronos and Mitama. And while this is definitely true in stages where there are a wide variety of enemies, on stages where the primary enemy type is Red or Angel, or both, it is definitely worth considering using him. He has a 40% chance to freeze Red and Angel enemies for 3.33 seconds. He is also quite stackable, with a short cooldown of only around 57 seconds. In addition to this, he has quite good survivability, with 68,000 HP with 4 knockbacks. So versus his trait, he is much more efficient than Kronos and perhaps even Mitama. And while definitely not a generalist, his exceptional specialist qualities are vital to many red stages, thus placing his spot at number 10 on my list. Coming in at number 9, we got Tourist Cat. Tourist Cat is an anti-trait list I consider to be quite underrated. People seem to overlook him, and I can't really seem to figure out why. Maybe it's his single target? I don't know. He is very useful, and I've personally used him on stages such as floor 30, floor 40, and many others. His cat combo is quite good, providing a medium resistance buff with only 2 slots with his Yami, which is a pretty good unit, which is a pretty good cat combo. The only problem with that is that it's kind of uncommon to need an anti-alien and anti-trait list on the same stage. Like, it happens sometimes, but in general, it's not something you see very often. Maybe one of the reasons he's underrated is his inability to work on mixed stages. Tourist Cat falls apart due to his low health versus traded enemies. However, versus traitless enemies, he has resistance, 100% chance to knockback, 100% chance to freeze for 2 seconds, immune to knockback, freeze, slow, weaken, and warp. And I think that's in general, not just against traitless. I just feel like people tend to overlook him, and which I find pretty surprising because I've used him many times and I find him quite a good unit. So here he is, number 9 on my list. Coming in at number 7, we got Fencer Cat, which caught my attention due to the comment section on my Reddit post, which was very, very popular, as you can tell by the tremendous amount of upvotes. From what I can tell, most people just see him for his niche, which is breaking barriers, and to be fair, he is quite good at it, especially during Cats of the Cosmos. He easily gets overwhelmed by crowds due to his single target, and his recharge time is too slow to be a spammable attacker. However, a part of Fencer people tend to overlook is his DPS, which I didn't even know was quite decent. He has around 14,800 DPS at level 30, standing at 320 range. Keep in mind that he has single target. Compare that to Cameraman. Cameraman has around 1,600 DPS and 250 attack range. Look at that number difference. Wow. That was kind of annoying, sorry about that. Granted, Cameraman costs 540 cents while Fencer costs 720 cents and is not as stackable because of his long recharge time, but you can see the sizable difference in cost efficiency. This unit is definitely overlooked even by me at first. I had no idea his DPS was this high, so he definitely deserves a spot on this list, at least in my opinion. Manic Mohawk is a unit I consider very heavily underrated. The reason for this is simply because another unit, Manic Eraser. Now let me get this straight. Manic Eraser is leagues above Manic Mohawk, and because of this, I tend to see Manic Mohawk being quite underrated. I mean, like, obviously Manic Eraser is probably one of the best units in the game, probably the best now that I think about it. While Manic Eraser is around 30% more cost efficient than Manic Mohawk, he has also double the price. This matters because on stages where the boss one-shots both units, you can actually save money by sending out Manic Mohawk. Floor 40 is one of the stages that come to mind. I mean, if your Manic Eraser is going to die, might as well try to save up more money for your more high cost attackers like, I don't know, Dark Castle, I don't know. However, to be fair, it's usually best just to bring Bode if you have enough free slots. But just this simple stat alone, this little cost stat, is good enough for him to take the number 6 spot on my list. Coming in at number 6 is another meat shell I find quite underrated. I present to you Jiangxi. At first glance, he might seem like another forgettable meat shield, being outclassed by Manic Eraser. However, just like Manic Mohawk, you have to look a little bit closer than that, as Jiangxi has the potential to be more efficient than a Manic Eraser on some stages. This is due to his signature ability, surviving lethal strikes. That means guaranteed he will survive 2 hits. At least, well, probably only 2 hits because he is a meat shield, so his health isn't that insanely high. He is also quite stackable due to his slow speed, making it easier to create a wall of Jiangxis. He costs 240 cents, while Manic Eraser costs 150. So if your Manic Eraser gets one shot, it may be more efficient to send out 1 Jiangxi than 2 Manic Erasers. I hope I explained that well. Oh, and his DPS is almost chip damage when stacked. Almost, I mean, enough to make, he's a pretty good unit, enough to make me put him at number 6 on my list. Oh boy, this is going to be a long one. Coming in at number 5, we got Subterra Sentinels. While it's considered by many to be a very, very powerful unit, I don't think he gets enough recognition. Let me explain. When people discuss the best Ubers in the game, I see certain units almost always come up. Dark Castle, Phono, Mitama, Balrog, etc, etc. However, I feel like Subterra Sentinels don't get the recognition they deserve, and they should be in that debate, because they completely destroy zombie enemies. In my opinion, Subterra Sentinels are the best specialist Uber in the game. Better than Aphrodite, better than Rei, better than Kalisa, just an amazing specialist unit. And the thing is, zombies are the one trait that you can't really generalize. Like, Dark Castle struggles against zombies enemies due to their lack of zombie killer. Same with Mitama, I think Phono and Dark Phono, I'm not 100% sure about that, but you know what I mean, right? So having a specialist that completely destroys one trait that is like kind of invincible to all the other traits is kind of similar to metal enemies. I think he just doesn't get enough recognition. Subterra Sentinels have basically no weaknesses when it comes to zombie enemies. You want buffs, he has knockback and freeze, plus multi-hit, meaning similarly to Kronos, he controls an area for his attack during his attack animation duration. Attack duration, I don't know. Do you want a tank? He has quite high health, which is only magnified due to his strong versus zombie enemies, which means he takes 50% of the damage. And speaking of damage, you want a damage dealer? He has amazing DPS versus zombies, which is because of his strong trait. His Soul Strike means, the Soul Strike is a talent, but means that you can kill zombies that are already dead, meaning you can use them to other units that on your lineup that don't necessarily counter zombies because they're dead, although this is not the best strategy in my opinion. And of course he got Zombie Killer. And Omni Strike, which means he can hit in front of him and behind him, which would usually be completely useless, but because the zombies burrow, it means that you can like defend and attack from zombies that are behind you, which is pretty insane. He also has slow speed, which you might think is a bad thing at first, but it means he can provide an iron wall in front of your base. You don't really want him near the enemy base anyway, especially in the zombie stages. You want him to control the area around your base so no zombies get through, which he does amazingly. Basically, I just don't think Subterra gets enough recognition as the best anti-zombie in the game, and besides maybe Shingon, it's not even close, putting his spot at number 5 at my list. I love this unit. Number 4, we got a unit that I really didn't know was underrated before I used him on my friend's account, and this is Gigavolta. He is an anti-alien specialist from an anti-alien set. He has 100% chance to freeze alien enemies for around 3.5 seconds, resistant to alien enemies, 100% chance to break barriers, and immune to warp. He sounds like an amazing anti-alien unit, especially considering his decently okay recharge time. Creating a stack of him can freeze alien enemies in their tracks. However, the reason why I think he's underrated is, well, the community considers him outclassed by Seafarer, which is pretty true. Seafarer is more cost efficient, easier to stack, and has generally better DPS once he is stacked, and he is also guaranteed to survive a lethal strike, which makes it easier to stack him. However, Gigavolta isn't always outclassed. On stages where the boss alien unit, or just any alien unit in general, outranges Seafarer. Gigavolta, due to having around 100, I'm not sure if it's exactly 100 attack range with him, means that he can safely attack from a distance, whereas Seafarer would get destroyed. Additionally, you can use him with Seafarer to increase the freezing capabilities of both of them. So, while Gigavolta is primarily outclassed by Seafarer, don't underestimate him. Gigavolta is an amazing unit, even by himself, and there are definitely instances where he is the superior option. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Gigavolta can sometimes outclass the Kitty of Liberty due to her single target. So on stages where there are a lot of peons or it's just hard to target that one enemy with that barrier, Gigavolta can step in due to his 100% chance to break barriers and his area attack, which is something the Kitty of Liberty does not have. So just keep that in mind. Underrated unit in my opinion. Getting into what I will call the podium underrated units, we got Piccolon Passalon coming in at number 3. Piccolon Passalon does not get enough recognition for what he is. He is a long-range debuffer that is kind of outclassed by Cyberpunk, but not really. Let me explain. He has a 100% chance to freeze all enemies, except for metal, for 3 seconds, and a 100% chance to weaken all enemies by 50% for 6 seconds. This does come with an amazingly slow recharge time, just like most of the Nekalugas. Painfully long. You'll never stack him. And this is, well, it's very, very hard to stack him. Let's just go back to his amazing debuffs. They are all the way from 940 range, while also having Pierce, which is something Cyberpunk does not have. So that means he has no blind spot. A lot of people overlook him in favor of Cyberpunk. However, it is usually favorable to use both units at the same time. This is because Piccolon Passalon can cover Cyberpunk's massive blind spot because of his Pierce. This greatly increases the efficiency of Cyberstack. The weakening also gives you time to recover, as the enemies will push much slower. Unfortunately, like Cyberpunk, he is quite fragile, so when using him, make sure to protect him to the best of your abilities. But yeah, I would probably argue that Piccolon Passalon is the best supporting unit to Cyberpunk, so do not pass him up. He is a very good unit with Cyberpunk, thus placing a spot on number 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list on the underrated units podium, I got Headmaster Cat. Headmaster Cat is not talked about enough in my opinion. He is heavily overlooked. People tend to overlook him due to his low range single target and his laughably low health. But let's look at his good size. He has a 100% chance to weaken all non-metal enemies by 99% for 5 seconds. 100% chance to weaken by 99%. 100% chance to survive a lethal strike, and 100% chance to create a level 1 surge attack between 150 and 1550 range. Let me say this again. 99% for 5 seconds. That is insane. If he gets one hit, no matter what boss, the boss does basically no damage. Think about Filibuster, the boss. He takes absolutely forever to attack, but when he does 1 million damage. If you allow the Headmaster to just do his thing, get one hit, his attack that took around 45 seconds to charge now does a laughable 10,000 damage. Not even enough to take out a Manic Eraser. Crazy. Now, people tend to overlook him. I think part of it is his high skill cap, as you need to have to time your cat cannon and placement so that he doesn't get killed by other supporting units, which is kind of hard to do, I'll be honest. But I do think that if you put the time and effort and just be good at timing, he is very, very useful. Also, he has a one-man slot cat combo, adding a small study upgrade. So, like, I think one-man slot combos are amazing. Just even if you don't use them at all, you're still getting a small study upgrade, which is great. So, while Headmaster is kind of situational, aside from his cat combo, which is useful all the time, under certain conditions and with a good enough sense of timing, he can become an insanely overpowered broken menace. Number 1 on the podium, number 1 on my list, I present to you Kunio-kun. Kunio-kun is, in my opinion, the most underrated unit in the game. I made a whole video talking about this, so if you want a better description going into, the little more of the details, just go check it out. But I'm going to grossly oversimplify it. Kunio-kun has his cat combo, which allows you to start the game with a level 3 worker wallet free of charge, and it only takes up 1 slot, which is amazing. And he's a pretty decent unit as well. I mean, I go more into this in my video, so yeah, check it in. I mean, it's kind of true. A good unit to compare him to, I compared to him in my video, is Mina. They have similar stats. I mean, obviously Mina's gonna be a bit better because you don't really use Kunio-kun for stats alone, but just in general, Kunio-kun isn't actually useless. Like, he's not just a cat combo slave. Like, he can actually help, like, provide chip damage. It's a pretty decent range. So there's that. So anyways, that's basically an oversimplification. But yeah, I think Kunio-kun is easily the most underrated unit in the game. I can't think of another unit that I think is not talked about enough, thus placing the spot on number 1 on my list, and the most overrated unit in Battle Cats, in my opinion at least. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you don't hate me too much. Once again, the overrated comments, the comment section for the overrated units. Some people very heavily disagree with me, which is okay. I mean, I don't mind criticism that much. I mean, I think it's good actually. Yeah, thank you for watching this far in the video. If you have any video suggestions, just drop in the comments. I mean, I'm always looking for new video ideas to get bored. I'm also thinking about making a video where I just do like a sort of just like a mini documentary is a bad word, but just like a little documentary on Battle Cats as a whole, because I think Battle Cats is a pretty well designed game in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it's a pretty good game. I mean, it's heavily unbalanced, very annoying units, but yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.